Welcome, everybody, to Live Interactive English. I am your earnest host, Shane.
And I am Karen. Today, we are looking at part 2 of the story called The Importance of Being Earnest.
Excellent. Why don't we begin?
I can't do this. I can't be very, very serious. It's not me.
All right, so the point of being earnest, we know that earnest is actually a person with a different spelling, but it sounds the same. Earnest, which is supposed to mean he's a sincere person. But
And serious.
Yeah, but this is a fake guy,
Yes.
and he's proposed to this girl named Gwendolyn, and she's like, I love the name Ernest, let's do this. But her mother, Lady Bracknell, is not having it. She's like, well, he's an orphan. I don't think so.
That's right. Well, that's kind of silly, though. Just like, agreeing to marry someone based on their name, right?
Yeah. Well, I kind of asked you before, would your parents refuse a marriage if they didn't like the background or something? Well, how about you, though? What are the qualities you look for? We have this earnest thing out here. Do you care about your husband being earnest? You're married, so what qualities did you look for in a husband?
Well, I thought some of the qualities that I thought were important were maybe he had to be honest. I think being honest in a relationship, that's really, really important.
Yes.
And also having a sense of humor, being humorous, I think that's also very important.
Absolutely.
And responsible, because you're building a family together, you want to be with someone who is responsible, who can also, carry the weight. You don't have to carry his, do his tasks for him or his jobs for him. We should build this thing together, right?
You know what?
How about you?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty much almost exactly the same as yours. Sense of humor, super important.
Yes.
Responsible, super important. And I think just being emotionally available.
Ah.
To me, that's really important. Not living in your own world, but really being able to pay attention to what your spouse needs and cares about.
You're right. So we all think about, different qualities that we want in a partner, right? But in today's story, I wonder what's going to happen next.
Well, why don't we go ahead?
Is she going to marry him or not?
Let's find out.
Returning to his country home, Jack was prepared to give up his double life with the story of Ernest's death. To his surprise, he found Cecily there with Algernon, who was pretending to be Ernest. Algernon had fallen for Cecily, and they had gotten engaged. Unable to object without exposing his own lies, Jack left to apply for an official name change to Ernest. Meanwhile, Algernon did the same, as Cecily, like Gwendolyn, loved the name Ernest.
So we're looking at part 2 of our story called The Importance of Being Earnest, right?
Right.
The story is a little bit complicated with many, many different characters, right?
Yeah, we have people pretending to be somebody they're not.
That's right. They have different identities, right?
Right. Okay, so we left off with Jack, who's pretending to be Ernest. He just proposed to Gwendolyn.
That's right. And Gwendolyn said yes.
She's like, woohoo! But then the mother's like, oh, no, you don't. Lady Bracknell's like, no way, Jose. So he's going to leave disappointed?
I don't know. I guess we're going to find out right now.
Okay, so returning to his country home, Jack was prepared to give up his double life with the story of Ernest's death.
Wait, so to give up his double life with a story of Ernest's death. So giving up his double life, that means he doesn't want that identity anymore, right?
Right, because he has a double life right now. He's two people,
That's right.
Jack and Ernest, so he's going to kill off Ernest.
That's right. He's going to tell everyone that Ernest is dead.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. To his surprise, he found Cecily there with Algernon, who was pretending to be Ernest.
Wait a second. Algernon was there with Cecily, and he was pretending to be Ernest? I thought Jack was Ernest.
Yeah, who is Ernest? But we know that Cecily was also interested in Ernest.
That's right.
Because Jack was telling her about this person named Ernest who was actually him. So I guess Algernon has used this, but she's like, oh, yeah, wow, you're Ernest. Oh, wow. And he's like, wow, you look kind of cute. Oh.
Okay, so maybe that's why he's there, pretending to be Ernest, right?
Yeah,
Okay, well, let's continue. Algernon had fallen for Cecily, and they had gotten engaged. Okay, so he really likes Cecily. When you say that you have fallen for somebody, maybe you have fallen in love with that person, right?
Normally that's what you mean,
yeah, that's right. And they had gotten engaged. So what does it mean when you say someone and two people are engaged?
Yeah.
So engage is an adjective. It means to having agreed to marry somebody. So if you ask a girl, it's like, would you marry me? And she says yes, and then you guys are engaged.
Awesome.
So for example, my brother got engaged last week, but there's no wedding date yet. Yes, usually after you get engaged, there's a period of time where you have to plan your wedding, and then comes your wedding day.
Okay, but I think in this crazy story, they could just get married tomorrow.
Exactly.
Who knows? Okay, continuing. Unable to object without exposing his own lies, Jack left to apply for an official name change to Ernest. Right, so he can't say anything like, wait, he's not Ernest, because then he would have to tell the truth, which is he has been pretending to be Ernest. Right? Okay, continuing. Meanwhile, Algernon did the same as Cecily, like Gwendolyn, loved the name Ernest.
So when Algernon did the same, that means he also changed his name officially to Ernest, right? So now we have two people that are Ernest, right?
Yeah, we've got two girls who are just marrying guys based on their name being Ernest. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I guess you're right. Okay, so we have this vocabulary word here, to expose, and that is a verb. So to expose something, that means to show something that is hidden. So for example, the reporter risked his career to expose the truth about the company's harmful treatment of its workers. Okay, so basically exposing, like letting out the truth, right? Let people see what's really happening.
We use this quite often, like exposing the truth, exposing lies.
Ah, that's right.
Okay, so I think it's getting more and more interesting, but more and more complicated.
You're right. How about let's take a break and we'll come back for more.
We need to digest this.
That's
okay.
right.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们来做个前情提要吧。那先补充一下 ，recap recap 这个名词呢，可以表达重述要点、前情提要，对剧情做概述这样子，它是个名词。好，那么 Jack 在城里面呢，常常有使用一个假冒的身份，就是假装是个桀骜不驯的弟弟，叫做 Ernest。那他的被监护人 Cecily 对这位假弟弟感到兴趣。好，那么 Jack 则是对他好友 Algernon 的表妹 Gwendolyn 感兴趣，就想要向他来求婚这样子。好，可是啊，他却被这个女方的妈妈拒绝了。那现在 Jack 他回到乡下的家，打算要用 Ernest 死亡的说辞来放弃他这样的双重身份、双重生活。可是让他惊讶的是，他却发现啊，他的被监护人 Cecily和好友 Algernon 在那里耶。Algernon 他假冒了 Ernest 的身份，那他爱上了 Cecily， 而且他们两个人已经订婚喽。那这下尴尬了。如果说这个主角 Ernest， 也就是 Jack， 他想要反对的话，那不就得揭穿这个谎言吗？于是他离开，去申请正式改名为 Ernest。他干脆就叫做 Ernest。那么好友 Algernon 也去做同样的事，也去改名为 Ernest。因为啊 ，Cecily 和 Gwendolyn 两位女子都一样，都很喜爱 Ernest 这个名字。听起来是不是觉得很荒谬、很可笑呢？好，那我们来看一下单字 engaged， 它是形容词，形容订婚的。当我们说 be engaged to somebody， 就表示与某人订婚。那补充一下相关词性，如果在 engage后面加上 ment 变成名词 engagement， 就可以表达订婚、婚约。再来看到 expose 这个动词，它表示揭露、揭发或者是显露、暴露的意思。好，这边两个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 give up 的用法。首先呢，它可以做及物用，之后接名词或动名词去表达舍弃某事物啊、戒除某事物的意思。像 Paul gave up smoking at the age of 50。Paul 在50岁的时候戒烟。那第二个，你可以把它当不及物用，去表达放弃、投降或是认输。像我们说 Don't give up， 就是别放弃啊。那么之后你还可以接 on somebody or something 去表达对某人或某事物绝望或失去信心而决定放弃。假设某个人他曾经误入歧途，但是家人一直都没有放弃他，我们来造个句子帮他感谢家人咯。Thank you for never giving up on me. 谢谢你们不曾放弃我。 好，再来看第二个重点是 to somebody's 加上名词去表达让某人怎么样的事。这个用法当中的名词呢是表达情绪的名词，包括像 surprise 惊讶、disappointment 失望沮丧、horror 惊恐害怕、joy 快乐高兴、relief 松口气等等。例如 To her disappointment, she didn't get her dream job. 让她失望的是，她没有得到她梦寐以求的工作。好，那我们继续回到课文中。
Later, Gwendolyn came over and chatted with Cecily. They discovered that they were both engaged to Ernest Worthing, forcing Jack to explain everything. Initially upset, they forgave their fiancés after hearing that both men would soon officially be named Ernest. Then Lady Bracknell arrived and was delighted to hear of her nephew's engagement to the wealthy Cecily. Jack, however, wouldn't let Algernon marry his ward unless he could marry Gwendolyn. Offended, Lady Bracknell turned her attention to the just-arrived Miss Prism, Cecily's governess. Lady Bracknell recognized her as the nurse who had lost her sister's baby 28 years ago. As it turned out, Jack was that baby, Algernon's older brother, Ernest John Moncrief. The couples embraced, and Jack finally realized the importance of being earnest.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so a quick recap. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so Jack has gone back to the countryside, right? After Gwendolyn he can't get married to Gwendolyn because her mother refused, right?
That's right.
He goes back and Algernon is there. And Algernon is pretending to be Ernest. And now he is engaged to Cecily.
You are right.
Right? Because Cecily also likes this name Ernest, but she's never seen him, so he doesn't know what she doesn't know what he looks like. So now two people are pretending to be Ernest.
That's right. And then they both changed their names officially, right?
So they can both be Ernest.
Exactly. So we have now two guys with the name of Ernest, right?
Okay.
Okay, well, let's find out what happens in the end.
Okay.
Okay, later, Gwendolyn came over and chatted with Cecily. Uh-oh. They discovered that they were both engaged to Ernest Worthing. Forcing Jack to explain everything. Okay, so it's not just Ernest, but they're both Ernest Worthing, right?
Right.
So they have to explain something to the girls.
Well, of course, right? Because they're both like, wait a second. I thought you were Ernest Worthing. But he said he's Ernest Worthing. What's going on? So Jack has to explain himself.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so he explains himself. Initially upset, they forgave their fiancés after hearing that both men would soon officially be named Ernest.
So that's all they care about, right?
They don't care that they lied and deceived them and they've been using fake names. As long as you've been you're officially changing your name
to Ernest,
Ernest,
then everything is fine.
Then everything is okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so initially they were upset, right? So initially is an adverb just meaning at the beginning.
That's right.
So for example, you can say, I initially thought that I would be finished in a few minutes.
But you probably ended up finishing something in an hour, right?
That's kind of the point about initially. Normally when we use that, we're going to kind of say, I initially was going to do this, but then something else happened.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, well, then Lady Bracknell arrived and was delighted to hear of her nephew's engagement to the wealthy Cecily. Okay. Jack, however, wouldn't let Algernon marry his ward unless he could marry Gwendolyn. Because he really likes Gwendolyn, right? And Algernon really wants to marry Cecily.
Right, and we know Lady Bracknell said, no, you're not allowed to marry Gwendolyn, right?
Exactly.
Because you were like an orphan. You don't have a name. I don't know who your family is. Okay, so delighted. All right, so to be delighted, it's an adjective to mean very pleased. Happy. For example, you can say Katie was delighted to see a new toy on her desk.
That just means that she was very happy to see a new toy on her desk, right? Okay. What happens next?
Offended, Lady Bracknell turned her attention to the just arrived Miss Prism, Cecily's governess. Offended. What does that mean?
That's right. So that's a verb. So to offend somebody, that's a verb. So basically to make somebody feel upset because of something you say or do that is rude or embarrassing. So for example, the former TV star's statements about minorities offended many. That means you made many people upset.
Right. All right, so continuing, Lady Bracknell recognized her as the nurse who had lost her sister's baby 28 years ago. Bam! So this governess is actually the person who lost her sister's baby. Oh my goodness, okay. As it turned out, Jack was that baby.
Wow.
Algernon's older brother, Ernest John Moncrief.
What a twist. What a twist in the end.
Oh my gosh.
So his real name is actually Ernest, right? And Algernon and Jack are actually brothers. That's crazy.
It's really insane. The funniest part, though, right, is in fact his real name is Ernest.
Exactly.
So all of this pretending has just been for nothing.
Okay, well, let's see what happens next. The couples embraced, and Jack finally realized the importance of being earnest.
Which is very funny. So what we're supposed to mean here is the importance of being earnest means it's really important to be serious and sincere. But no, in fact, it was so important that his name was Ernest, which is actually the important thing. And he was lucky that, in fact, it was Ernest.
That is really, really interesting. A little bit complicated, but in the end, I didn't see it coming.
Okay, so we have a what do you think question.
Okay.
So the story pokes fun at the silly concerns of the rich. Do you agree that rich people generally concern themselves with silly things? Why or why not?
Well, I think it is probably true in some cases.
In this case,
yes,
it's
that's right.
absolutely true.
So I think when we're thinking about people's worries and concerns in life, usually we're talking about maybe meeting their basic human needs, like having a shelter, having a roof over your head.
Yeah, paying for rent, paying for food.
Putting food on the table and then, stuff like that. But I guess when people are really, really rich, sometimes they don't have to worry about those very basic things.
Right, and they start worrying about pretty silly things.
Yeah, maybe they start creating problems in their own mind and then makes their lives a little bit complicated.
And pretty funny, actually. This is a pretty humorous story at the end. So I guess it has a happy ending.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But ridiculous.
You're right, but I really enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it was actually really fun, huh?
I hope you guys enjoyed it too.
And I hope you guys followed.
That's right.
Maybe I'll need to read it again.
That's right. Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you guys next time.
And remember to be earnest.
好，后来啊 ，Gwendolyn 就过来跟 Cecily 聊天。这两名女子聊着聊着，就发现她们都跟 Ernest Worthing 订婚，这迫使 Jack 不得不解释清楚了。那么起初这两位女子听得很不高兴，不过啊，听到他们的未婚夫很快就会正式改名为 Ernest 之后呢，就原谅他们的未婚夫了。好，那么接着 Gwendolyn 的母亲也来了。那接着他听到说他的外甥，也就是 Algernon 要跟有钱的 Cecily 订婚这个消息，他听得好高兴哦。可是 Jack 就说他不让他的好友娶 Cecily， 除非他能够娶 Gwendolyn。这下 Gwendolyn 的母亲就被触怒了，很生气。好，我们先来看看单字 initially 这个副词，它表示起初或者是开始。那么 delighted 它是形容高兴的、快乐的或者是乐意的。再来 offend 它是动词，表示冒犯啊、得罪或是触怒的意思。好，那么在课文的最后有一个角色登场了，是 Miss Prism， 她是 Cecily 的家庭教师。当她抵达的时候 ，Gwendolyn 的母亲啊，马上就认出她是28年前把姐姐的婴儿弄丢的保姆。那结果发现 Jack 就是那名婴儿，那么 Jack 就是他好友的哥哥 Ernest John Moncrief， 是不是很巧呢？那么最后那两对未婚夫妻互相拥抱。Jack 也终于了解到 the importance of being earnest， 也就是我们的句名咯。好，我们来补充一下文中的这个 governess 这个名词，它表示女家庭教师。Karen 老师提到，这有点类似那种照顾者的身份，那他用到 caretaker， caretaker 就是照顾者、看护者。那么 Shane 老师觉得这个故事情节很荒谬、很疯狂，老师用到 insane。 insane insane 就是形容疯狂的、精神失常的。好，那最后看一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 unless， 它表示除非点点点，除非怎么样，否则怎么样的那种意思。那它是连接词，用来引导表示条件的副词子句，意思就相当于 if not。例如 You won't get any dessert unless you finish your veggies。除非你把青菜吃完，否则就没有甜点可以吃哦。好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Returning to his country home, Jack was prepared to give up his double life with the story of Ernest's death. To his surprise, he found Cecily there with Algernon, who was pretending to be Ernest. Algernon had fallen for Cecily, and they had gotten engaged. Unable to object without exposing his own lies, Jack left to apply for an official name change to Ernest. Meanwhile, Algernon did the same, as Cecily, like Gwendolyn, loved the name Ernest. Later, Gwendolyn came over and chatted with Cecily. They discovered that they were both engaged to Ernest Worthing, forcing Jack to explain everything. Initially upset, they forgave their fiancés after hearing that both men would soon officially be named Ernest. Then Lady Bracknell arrived and was delighted to hear of her nephew's engagement to the wealthy Cecily. Jack, however, wouldn't let Algernon marry his ward unless he could marry Gwendolyn. Offended, Lady Bracknell turned her attention to the just-arrived Miss Prism, Cecily's governess. Lady Bracknell recognized her as the nurse who had lost her sister's baby 28 years ago. As it turned out, Jack was that baby, Algernon's older brother, Ernest John Moncrief. The couples embraced, and Jack finally realized the importance of being earnest.
Hi, I'm Toi.
And I'm Kiki.
And today we're playing Guess the Bear. We each have 3 cards with 2 sentences on them. And the word that we need to guess is replaced with the word bear. And we have 1 minute each to guess all 3 cards. You want to start?
Okay. Start the clock. Adjective, 1 word. Nick got bear to his longtime girlfriend last year. They are bear, but they haven't married yet.
Engaged.
Very good. Adverb, 1 word. They bear thought he had died from a heart attack. That wasn't the case. Bear, I thought about flying. In the end, I took a train.
Read the first one again.
They bear thought he had died from a heart attack. That wasn't the case.
They definitely?
No.
Okay, next one.
Okay, next one. Verb, 1 word. It's not easy to bear Sarah. She has thick skin. The comedian often bears people when he tells jokes.
Embarrasses?
No.
Jokes?
No.
Read the second one again.
The comedian often bears people when he tells jokes.
I keep thinking embarrassed.
It's not easy to bear Sarah.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, it's not easy to offend Sarah. She has thick skin. The comedian often offends people when he tells jokes.
Okay, offense. What's the other one?
The other one was
Adverb.
the adverb. They initially thought he had died from a heart attack. That wasn't the case. Initially, I thought about flying. In the end, I took a train.
Yeah, that was tough.
That was tough.
Your turn to guess.
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay.
Verb, 1 word. The reporter was determined to bear the company's fraud. The doctor recommended bearing the wound to air.
The second one?
The doctor recommended bearing the wound to air.
Uncover.
Keep going.
Wrap up.
Okay,
next one.
Okay. Adjective, 1 word. They were bare to hear about the arrival of their first grandchild. I'm bare to tell you about your acceptance into our program.
Excited.
Keep going.
Happy.
Okay. No. Okay, next one. Phrase, 2 words. She bared bear smoking after 10 years. I don't know. I bear. What's the correct answer?
2 words. Mm-hmm. Can you say the first one again?
She bared bear smoking after 10 years.
She stopped smoking.
2 words.
I really don't know.
Give up. So she gave up. She gave up smoking after 10 years. I don't know. I give up. What's the correct answer? The other one, expose. The reporter was determined to expose the company's fraud. The doctor recommended exposing the wound to air. And the last one, delighted. They were delighted to hear about the arrival of their first grandchild. I'm delighted to tell you about your acceptance into our program.
Wow.
These were hard.
That was hard. I got them all wrong.
I only got one.